Hello everyone. So the topic that we were assigned for is HLURB, and it stands for Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board. To give you a brief background, in recent years, the residential sector of the Philippine real estate market has seen significant expansion due to the ever-increasing need for housing in the country's rapidly urban development. So may financial institutions and developers na nag-rise that time to offer properties. Before kasi mayayaman lang talaga pwede makapag-acquire ng bahay. Pero ngayon, basta may kakayanan na magbayad, kahit installment pwede na. To ensure the health of real estate market, kailangan ng safeguards, and that is HURB. Para maiwasan ng fraud and deception to protect consumers na naghahanap ng real estate investment. So, si HLURB ang nag-oversee nun. So, let's discuss the history of HLURB. It was started in September 19, 1973, a year after the declaration of martial law. President Ferdinand Marcos, via Executive Order 419, declared the creation of a task force on human settlements which served as a framework plan for the country that would locate priority areas for human settlement initiatives. Under Presidential Decree 933 signed in May 13, 1976 by the same President, the Human Settlements Commission was created to facilitate land reforms programs in that time. Presidential Decree number 1396 of 1978 renamed it to Human Settlements Regulatory Commission and was given an initial budget release of 100 million pesos. It was reorganized as the Human Settlements Regulatory Commission by virtue of Executive Order number 648 in 1981 under the same regime. In December 17, 1996, the Commission was identified in Executive Order number 90 as one of the government agencies essential for the 6-year National Shelter Program under President Corazon Aquino. It was at this time that the name was changed to what he known as the Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board. So, what is HLURB? HLURB is the government's regulatory body for housing and land development. It renders planning, assistance, and promulgates standards and rules for land use planning, zoning, and land development. So, one example is before magpatayo si developer ng pa-housing, kailangan nilang mag-ask sa HLURB. If approved yung land na gagamitin nila for the said housing, I remember, meron study na ginawa sa HLURB before, like nila in-approve ang pagkatayo ng mass housing or condos kapag near or tatamaan ng fault line. Aside from that, si HLURB din ang nag-check kay developer kung reliable ba sila na mapapatiwalaan ng buyers. HLURB is located in Kalayaan Avenue, corner Mayaman Street, Diliman, Quezon City. Their mission and vision, the commission is composed of public service professionals working towards its main thrust of creating competently planned and sustainable centers of population through its said functions and responsibilities in land use and regulation. Part of HLURB undertaking is to enforce policies on land use, all the while promoting inclusive growth and economic advancement, social justice, and environmental protection for the equitable distribution and enjoyment of development benefits. So, before kasi gusto yung agawan ng lupa, ari-arian, even yung boundaries and properties, like yung mga dapat sidewalk na papaexo na ng bahay, either nilagyan ng balcony or garage. So, ang aim ni HLURB dito is to maintain harmonious environment for the homeowners or other consumers. Di lang basta protection kundi para hindi sila mang-abuso ng property nila. So, there are implementing laws or laws na connected sa HLURB. Number 1 is Presidential Decree 957. So, it is the regulating the sale of subdivision lots and condominiums, providing penalties for violations thereof. So, kapag ikaw na yung buyer na mag-acquire ka ng property, binibigyan ka ni HLURB ng certification to sell. Also, yung broker or sales agent na kausap mo is dapat registered din sa HLURB. Hindi sila pwedeng magbenta na or mag-alok ng property kapag hindi sila licensed. HLURB registration is a requirement according to the laws, specifically under Section 11 of Presidential Decree number 957 or ang tinatawag natin na Subdivision and Condominium Buyers Protective Decree. Nasabi doon, bawal magbenta ang broker or salesman ng subdivision lot or condominium unit unless na-registers siya sa authority, which is in this case is the HLURB. Pag hindi ka licensed or hindi ka engaged ka sa real estate and hindi rin yun ang license, ma-penalize ka ng 5,000 kapag nahuli ka. And kapag wala kang HLURB license, tapos nagbenta ka, you will be fined 10,000. Aside from 5K and 10K, yung violation ng PD 957 kapag nagbenta ka na hindi ka registered as a broker. May additional na penalty na 20,000 and pwede kang makulong up to 10 years. So, bawal pala yung pagbebenta ng kamag-anak mo ng property mo directly. So, kailangan dumaan sa broker na license talaga. Also kasi, hindi ba may pinirman si owner na contract la developer and broker na plan and time ng turnover. You can demand for full reimbursement once yung property turnover is delayed, whether it is a condo or a house and lot, or kapag hindi nasunod yung plan na pinirmahan nyo. However, hindi ka pwede mag-ask ng refund kapag nagbago ka lang ng decision or ayaw mo na ng kapitbahay mo. Next is Presidential Decree number 1344. It is empowering the National Housing Authority to use writ of execution in the enforcement of its decision under Presidential Decree 957. So, according to my research, it is where claims involving refund and other claims filed by subdivision lot or condominium unit buyer against the project owner, developer, dealer, broker, or salesman. Same lang din naman ng PD 957 but the actions take place in NHA where they are the one who gives the jurisdiction regarding sa apilan ng owners, developers, etc. The next one is Presidential Decree number 1216. So it is defined as open space with regards to residential subdivisions, and at the same time it amended Section 31 of Presidential Decree number 957 requiring subdivision owners to provide roads, alleys, sidewalks, and reservation open for parks or recreation areas. So, example, kapag nag-submit ng plan si developer, it should have an open space and other requirements for the subdivision.
Importance of HLURB to home buyers and future subdivision owners. The Hlurb HLURB mandates that all prospective properties purchaser seeks the required certificate, including a certificate of registration and a license to sell, before making any transactions. The website www.hlurb.gov.ph details both the projects that are the subject of the aforementioned papers of the current proceedings that have resulted in the issuance of a halt and desist order of suspension. A trip to the location is also highly recommended. Potential home buyers of certified products should make sure that the advertised facilities and amenities, as well as the estimated date of completion, all conform to the HLURB approved master plan. An interested buyer should also verify that the real estate agent or broker that are working with a properly licensed by the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI and has all the necessary paperwork for HLURB brokers registration before making any offers on properties. Home buyers should also check the registry of deeds to verify that the property has not already been sold. The buyers is also responsible for double-checking with HLURB to ensure that all building materials utilized are in accordance with all applicable regulations. You should also consider the water system as well as who will be liable for the utility fees such as water and electric meter, a security fence, and etc. Buyers are cautioned against signing a blank form and encouraged to study the contract's terms and conditions carefully before signing. It is also recommended that they save copies of the contract and any other paperwork pertaining to it. It is the buyer's responsibility to ensure that the contract is documented with the Registry of Deed and making payment directly to the owner or authorized marketing agency of the project. Last but not the least, purchasers should always save their original receipt. There is a logical framework. Logical framework of HLURB or is from societal Logical framework of HLURB from societal goal down to sectorial goal, then to the organizational outcomes. Let's start with societal goal. Sustainable development towards a better quality of life. Down to sectorial goals, well-planned communities, improved shelter securities, empowered homeowners association. Then there are three different derived of organizational outcomes: rational use of land and orderly development of communities, equitable access of housing and protection of subdivision and condominium buyers, improved governance of homeowners association or HOAs. Then we have beneath that is major final outputs: the policies, the capability of the building, the regulation, and the adjudication services. Then after this, they have the PAPs. The PAPs is the formulation, upgrading of standard guideline rules and regulation, also the provision of technical assistance to the LGUs, and processing application for permits, clearance, and licenses. And hearing resolutions of complainants cases arises from the implementation of law. So, services. For the buyers, HLURB identifies three buyers' rights intended to protect the customers. One is failure to pay installment by Makeda Law, non-forfeitures of payment, Article 23 of Ordinance Number 957. Right to a clean title, Clause 25 of the Presidential Decree 957.
HLURB offers owners and project developers processing services for the approval of condominium plan, which covers the development permit, conversion plan, and alteration plan. It is also the primary proponent in the issuance of the certificate of registration and license to sell, subdivision, condominium projects, and other real estate projects. The Commission supervises the activities of developers via a set of responsibilities and obligations. The developers shall ensure that the following are taken care of: completion of the project with the approved development plan not later than indicated target date, maintenance of common facilities until turnover to buyer, pursuant to Presidential Decree Number 1216 or PD 1216. Registration of documents related to the sale with the Registry of Deeds within 180 days. Delivery of the clean title to fully paid buyers. Issuance of clearance prior to any mortgage, alteration, advertisement, or change of ownership. Payment of real estate tax on the property until the year the title is transferred or the property is already in possession of the buyer. Non-forfeiture of payments on ground of incomplete or non-development. Submission of reports showing the development of the project and changes in corporation within 60 days after each semester. Observation of prescribed maximum pricing for BP 220 projects. Display of registration certificate and license in all offices. Promotion of the organization of homeowners association. not imposition of any fees with alleged community benefit upon the buyers, guarantee of the development of socialized housing project in compliance with Section 18 Republic Act 7279. Developmental loans or loans in which the property is made collateral requires clearance from HLURB as stated in Section 18 of PD 9657. Approval requires that the proceeds of the mortgage shall be used for the development of the projects and measures have been made to ensure its use. Buyers of mortgage units have the option to pay installments for purchase units directly to the mortgagee developers. The latter applies the payment to the particular lot as loan payment so that title can promptly be turned over to the buyer once fully paid. Executive Order Number 45, signed by President Gloria Arroyo in October 4, 2001, lists the rules and regulations for the approval of housing permits. The EO also provides a specific time frame for government agencies to accomplish such documents as well as options for developers when the agencies fail to do so. As stated in Republic Act Number 9904, also known as the Magna Carta for Homeowners and Homeowners Association, upon the initiative of the developer to create an association, HLURB then takes over the registration and supervision of the said group. During registration, applicants should be able to define the association's purpose, its powers and duties, membership rules, meeting arrangements, fees and dues, its board of directors and officers, committees, fiscal management, and more provisions. The following documents are processed through and issued by HLURB: Certificate of Registration, Certificate of Filing Amended Articles of Incorporation and or Bylaws, Certificate of Dissolution, Certificate of Enrollment, various certifications, certified true copies.
Brokers. Registration of brokers, dealers, and salespersons and real estate brokers who have not registered themselves with the authority are not allowed to engage in the business of selling subdivision, lots, or condominium units. The authority, as mandated under PD 957, refers to HLURB as the authorized registry of said salespeople dealing with condominium units, farm, lots, memorial parks, and subdivision projects. So, what is a broker? Ang broker ay a person or firm who arranges transaction between a buyer and a seller for a commission when the deal is executed. Tapos, nagre-refer ang broker sa under siya ng authority ng Presidential Decree number 957, which is also known as regulating the sale of subdivision lots and condominiums, providing penalties for violations. So, nagre-refer siya sa Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board. Local government units, comprehensive land use plans, Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board assist LGUs in the preparation of comprehensive land use plans, CLUP. These are general plans that serve as references for the future land utilization plans of a particular community. Land use may refer to how land is used, allocated, developed, and managed by the local government units. Its objectives includes the efficient use of natural resources and the promotion of advantageous patterns of land utilization to minimize waste. Some samples are land classification, national land use and allocation scheme, zoning, and land use conversion. Conflicts frequently arise in land use among private and public individuals and corporations. Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board also functions as a mediator when it comes to these cases.
In continuation of our series with BPI Family Savings Bank, we sit down with another partner guest, the country's planning and quasi-judicial organization of land use development and real estate regulation. I'm here today with Mr. TG Limcauco, President of BPI Family Savings Bank, and Attorney Linda Hornilia, Commissioner of the Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board. Hi TG. Hi Commissioner. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Joe.
Hello.
Good to have you back, TG.
Thank you.
Commissioner, please tell us about the HLURB.
The Housing and Land Use Regulatory Board is an agency that regulates the sale of subdivision projects and condominium units. We basically implement Presidential Decree 957, PD 1344, and PD 1216, which all are geared towards the protection of subdivision and condominium unit buyers. For example, if a project developer would want to mortgage the subdivision project, then he has to inform the subdivision buyers, or if it's a condominium, the condominium unit buyers.
And for the bank, TG, how does this give more trust?
HLURB is the protector of the buyer. They ensure that the buyers are safe and that the project's complete. The banks, we work closely with the developers, and we also look to the HLURB. We need to work with developers who are okayed by the HLURB. When a buyer comes to a bank, the bank helps them in vetting the developer, because a bank would never lend on a project that we didn't think was backed by strong developers or that would not finish. We sort of do a little of the work similar to the HLURB. It's entrusted by law to make sure that consumers are protected.
How about the guidelines that the HLURB gives the developers?
The HLURB, as part of its regulatory powers, requires each project to be developed a certificate of registration and a license to sell. Okay, the certificate of registration requires that you should submit your project plan. You have the necessary background to do that, background in terms of financial capability perhaps. We also have to issue you a license to sell. That would be the license that would allow you to sell the individual units in your subdivision project or your condominium project. And what are those that the buyers also should look into? Well, sometimes they're offered leaflets, right? They have advertisements. And then in the advertisements, we usually see some promises that developers make. And so we require of them, once they say they're going to provide a swimming pool, then we look for the swimming pool, because this is what the buyers would want to see.
I think the HLURB is there really to give confidence to the industry by making sure that it's well regulated and that things are complete.
And the confidence in HLURB and the confidence in the bank makes one a happy homeowner.
Of course, of course.
Always, first and foremost.
I think we're gearing towards that objective. That, you know, when we have happy homeowners, then we have a happy community, we have a happy Philippines. So it's more fun here, huh?
Yes, it's more fun in the Philippines if you are a happy homeowner.
Yes.
But you can't discount the fact that, you know, the real estate industry is one of the major legs of the economy, and that industry will only grow if you've got confidence in the industry and in the sector.
And thank you for that confidence you've given our show in reorienting and introducing to everyone the role of the HLURB, as well as, of course, BPI Family Savings. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you again,
Angel.
TG.
Thank you, Commissioner.